Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria and I'm so glad you clicked on this video. Now before all of you who subscribe to my channel who are not here for books unsubscribe, let me tell you, this will not become a booktube channel. First of all, because I never really liked books until now, but that's a different story. And second of all, I do enjoy the other content way too much to throw that all away. But as of recently, books became a really important part of my life and a really entertaining part of my life. And what do I want to do with this channel? A little bit of entertaining. So that's why I sort of put these two together. So this channel will be sort of an amateur booktube with other stuff channel in the future. Please don't unsubscribe. Please don't. If you don't watch my videos, just stay subscribed. Just, you know, there's no reason for you to unsubscribe. Just stay with me. So anyways, I put some pictures up and my room is sort of coming together. The room tour will be filmed soon, but I can't say when because I don't have everything yet and I want to film a room tour when everything's done. Yeah, as you can see in the title, this will be a January wrap-up of all the books that I read. And let me tell you, I read more books in this month alone than I read in the whole of 2020. So next to countless of fanfiction, I read 10 books this month. Really proud of myself. That never happened before. My goal for this year is actually to read 25 books just because I read 4 books last year and I thought, okay, let's give you a very, very small goal that is still motivating for you to read enough. I already read 10 books, so I think we're on a good schedule here. I already started another one. My wrap-ups will be like this. I will tell you how many stars I gave it on Goodreads because I actually have a Goodreads account. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, obviously. But one thing that I want to add is how many times or how much I cried. So we have 5 crying smileys that I'm going to be using. And yeah, we're going to see how many I used for which books. I'm a Pisces, okay? That's what we do. The first book I read this year was Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. I have a confession to make. I am a fraud. Until this year, I didn't read the Harry Potter books, or I didn't finish reading the Harry Potter books. I have 2 Harry Potter tattoos. I think I can call myself a fraud for that. I was a huge fan of the movies when I was a kid, and as I said, I hated reading books. And then in 2018, I started reading them and sort of lost track because of school and other shit that was going on. Yeah, I started this book in September of 2019 and finished it in the first week of January. This book is a 5 out of 5. Every single Harry Potter book is a 5 out of 5. I don't even care what anybody says. It's about Harry Potter and his 6th adventure. What I love about this book is Ginny, first of all, and you find out a lot of information about you-know-who. So that was the great thing about this book. In general, I love the movies, but you know, there are just some moments in the books where you just like, oh my god, I wish that was in the movie. 5 out of 5. Great. How many times I've cried? I think I cried at the end. I would give it 2 crying emojis because, you know, it was sad in the end. Now you can guess the second book I read this year. I'm gonna let you guess for 3 more seconds. Yes, you guessed right. I finally read the last part of Harry Potter, concluding the whole story, finishing Harry's journey and crying like a little bitch. It's the last book. I was devastated. I cried my ass off. I knew what was gonna happen. I know who was, you know, not gonna be part of the future anymore. I'm gonna start crying. Oh my god. And I watched the movie, for this part, especially the 2 movies, thousands of times, and I cry every single time. Yeah, heartbreaking, amazing, adventure-driven, 5 out of 5. I can't say anything because it's the last part of a series, so I'm not gonna spoil anything. Crying emojis, 500 out of 5. There were some moments where I thought, oh yeah, I know why the movie did not do that. And that's so fun, reading a book after watching the movie or knowing the movie inside and out, and then knowing why they did not include some of the things that were in here. But some things I wish would have been in the movie. I think it would have been great, but I'm not gonna spoil anything. You can find out for yourself or you already know. I finally finished it and I feel much better now that I finished the series, but yeah, I cried like a little bit. So anyways, the book was great. I'm gonna cry now. I'm gonna do the next 3 books all together because I read every single book by Rupi Kaur. I am gonna have lots of poetry collections in my wrap-ups, by the way, because I read lots of poetry. So first of all, I read Milk and Honey, which I bought 2 years ago and I started reading, and it sort of introduced me to poetry next to my English teacher, and I didn't really think too much about the stuff that she wrote until I educated myself about poetry or kind of found the writing that I really, really like and really enjoy reading. This isn't it. No. This is so harsh, and I could definitely do a really deep dive into these books because I actually made notes while reading them. I do not like her way of writing. It's just really not my cup of tea. Many of the Instagram poets and modern and popular writers are just not for me. I'm happy that lots of people find comfort in those books and find that they're not alone with their feelings and just really, really enjoy reading those. So no offense, really no offense. It's just not my thing. I didn't cry while reading any of these books. I didn't feel anything while reading this, and I'm really emotional, especially when I read poetry. But yeah, that's not it. So yeah, Milk and Honey, I don't even want to give it 1 star, but I had to. So, well, you don't have to anything, but I think I give it 1 star on Goodreads. Honestly, I don't think it deserves any stars. I was really bored while reading it, and I thought, okay, The bad thing is, in all of her books, she talks about lots of different things. She talks basically about life, love and heartbreak and intimacy, sex, but she also talks about racism, abuse, what she experienced, and complicated relationships and everything. And those topics are so great. And what she wrote about was amazing, and I thought, oh my god, this really could have an impact if she had taken the time to work with an editor or just really dive into how to show instead of telling. And that's my problem with lots of modern poets, that they rather tell than show. After reading Milk and Honey, I was not expecting anything. I was like, oh god, I have 2 more books to read. Am I wasting my time with those? I read The Sun and Her Flowers and I was surprised that this was actually more enjoyable. I really enjoyed some poems that she wrote, but then there were several that I just thought, okay, but I at least had hope because I thought, okay, she definitely improved. So yeah, I was pleasantly surprised. I would give it 1.5 stars. And then I had high hopes for Homebody, and good god, was it bad. This is her 3rd collection. It came out in December, so just recently. I don't want to say I wasted my money on this, but I wasted my money on this. Oh my god, I feel so bad talking about it. Again, this is nothing against her. I'm not a fan of her writing. You know, that's my opinion. I was really disappointed to find out that she didn't really improve her style. She didn't really improve her writing, because that is definitely a downgrade from The Sun and Her Flowers. I would even say it's worse than Milk and Honey. I was really bored when I was reading Milk and Honey, but this, I was sometimes screaming because I thought, oh my god, she did not write this, and sold it as poetry. I'm so harsh. I'm really harsh. So I would not give this a star. Which is actually quite sad, because in that book and that collection, she talks about finding herself and starting to live with depression and anxiety. I am able to relate to lots of those poems, but that's not good enough for me. Like, relatability is not good enough for me to then invalidate all the other things that I love about poetry. So yeah, that was not the best time I had. Again, if you want to have in-depth reviews of all these books, please let me know. Okay, after having this really period where I thought, oh, I'm really bored, I need something good, I started reading Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. This was definitely the oldest classic I read so far. So Pride and Prejudice is a very, very classic. I think it's the most famous novel by Jane Austen, and it's basically about this family, the Bennets. You know, there's the father and the mother, and they have 5 daughters, and they all obviously need to find husbands, and that's actually what it's about. I don't know if it's set in 1813. It came out in 1813, which I think is a really funny coincidence, because I was watching Bridgerton simultaneously while I was reading the book. And Bridgerton is set in 1813. And I just thought that's a funny coincidence. It sort of has similarities to the story, which I just like, what are the odds? I have lots of characters that are maybe misjudged. And obviously there is Elizabeth, who is the main character, who is not the most ladylike person, and she says what she thinks, and that's what I really liked about her. And obviously, if you know the story, there's Mr. Darcy, and oh my god, Mr. Darcy. I read the book before I watched the movie, and I'm really, really happy about it. I watched the movie last night, and oh my god. In the future, I never want to watch a movie before I read the book, because holy shit. If you watch the movie, you will think it's a love story. It didn't really feel like that, to be honest, because most of the time the characters just went from house to house and just talked about other families and talked about getting husbands. It's not really a love story that you know from today. Because back then I think it was like, oh, I met this woman at a ball, and then I danced with her twice, and I love her and I want to marry her. Like that's the way that it was back then. There was no physical intimacy. I didn't really feel that there was lots of romance in this, but it was an enjoyable read, and I would definitely recommend it to anyone who wants to just read a classic and who thinks maybe they're not ready for it, because I thought I wasn't ready for it, and it was actually quite fine. Something that surprised me was that there were lots of humorous moments in this, and that just really made me laugh out loud. I thought it was really funny at times. The only thing that I did not like is that it's really long and it sometimes gets really tiring. The big moments where you think, oh, these should be thoroughly explained and thoroughly written, are really small and just basically mentioned in 2 sentences, whilst there are other occasions where they just talk to each other and it's pages long. It is a little bit hard to go through, especially if you are not someone that reads a lot like me. And that's why I gave the book 3 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed the character. And the best thing about this book was the reading experience. I read this book with my best friend, Julie. This is her channel. Please subscribe to her channel. She is amazing, and she is a German YouTuber, by the way. And we read this book together every 2 days, every 3 days. We would have Skype calls and just call each other and say, oh my god, what did you think? It was such a great experience that just made this book so much more exciting. So maybe the story was a little bit dry at times, but because I was calling her constantly and because we were talking about it, it just made it all more enticing. So what I liked most about this book were the characters, the humor at times, and the reading experience, because I was reading it with a friend. I did not cry while reading this book. I was laughing out loud at times though. So because my friend actually has work to do, and I don't, we took a longer period of time to read this book. Sometimes I would find myself bored and I was like, oh, I want to read something else now. And I chose this. This is also something I got for Christmas. I got all these books for Christmas, which is Aristotle and Dante, Discover the Secrets of the Universe. And it was the best decision to do that while reading Jane Austen, because I don't know if you can see this, but you see this? In comparison to this, it's just great, and it definitely helps you to get through a book while reading another book that is so easy to read. I actually finished this before I finished Pride and Prejudice, so just so you know the sort of timeline that we're going here. But yeah, I read this in the course of 24 hours, and I loved it. I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. So let me tell you what it is about. It's set in, I think, the 80s, and it's about the main character, who is Ari. And, you know, he is 15 years old, he's a normal teenager, he is a loving character deep down. You just have to get through the first few pages because you think, oh, this guy is really, he's a pessimist, but just wait, just read the book. So the story is just in the course of 1 year, from one summer to the next, and in that particular summer in which we start the book, Ari meets Dante, who knows how to swim, and Ari doesn't. He's just sitting at the pool, and he's looking around all these kids who are able to swim, and Dante comes up and says, hey, I can teach you how to swim. And yeah, there's beautiful friendship blossoms. It was so cute to read because they complement each other so well. Dante speaks a lot when Ari doesn't, or they read poetry together. It's just a really beautiful friendship. Things just happen. It's a really realistic sort of story. And I don't want to spoil too much, but if you know this book, you know that it's loved by the LGBT community. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to spoil you. There are so many beautiful quotes in this. I annotated so much in this book. The reason why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars was probably because I needed more. Because the ending scene was so cute, and I thought, why is this ending? Why? I just needed more. I didn't cry so much during that book. I would give it a, okay, I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 5 crying emojis. I think that's a good number. Because the ending was so cute. It was great. I loved it, but I needed more. I just need more. I have another poetry collection for you, but this one is actually something I read and heard the audiobook of, and it's I Would Leave Me If I Could by Halsey, one of my favorite artists, and she came out with a poetry collection in November. I have the book twice. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. I pre-ordered it, and my mother actually bought me something from her official website, which is the book, but it's also the print. Sorry for my messy room, but this is the print, and it's the cover of the book. I absolutely love it. It looks so good on my wall. I was so excited when I put it up. I love her lyrics. She is one of the most inspiring people for me because I just love her way of writing, and I love the way that she describes things, and I love the way that she shows things and that she doesn't tell. We have abuse in this book, sex, bad relationships, heartbreak, love, everything. But the way that she writes it, I really enjoyed it, especially because I was listening to the audiobook and I love her voice, and she read it herself because she has these metaphors and these pictures and all this imagery in her poetry itself. I would give this a 4 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I did not cry while reading this or hearing that. The next book I read was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. I read this in a day and I watched the Disney movie one day afterwards. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. If you don't know about it, it's a story for children. It's about Alice, who is a really peculiar girl, and she suddenly sees this rabbit in a suit that's just running and says, "I'm gonna be late." And then she follows that rabbit and she falls into a rabbit hole, into Wonderland, and then all sorts of weird, strange, and peculiar things are happening. I think it's a cute story to tell your children and to just read them at night because they don't really have to understand anything. You don't understand anything in this book. It's just like all sorts of weird things. And I think I like that. I like talking animals and the sort of things that are just so unexplainable that it just makes it fun. Best part is always watching the movie afterwards, because I actually haven't watched the movie until Friday. I knew what the story was basically about, but I didn't know every single detail. I don't know why. I really don't know why. But yeah, I gave it a 3 out of 5 because I enjoyed it and some things were funny. The last book I read in the course of 2 days was Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McKiston. Am I saying this right? I hope I do. A lot of people in the LGBTQ+ community know it, and I thought, okay, I'm part of that community. I should read this too. And also, I was just intrigued, you know? So Red, White, and Royal Blue tells the story of the first son of America, who is the son of the first female president. Obviously, it's fictional because that's not the case. But his mother is president and he's the first son, so he has lots of reputation to uphold. And he has this sort of rivalry with the Prince of Wales, who is Henry. Yeah, they don't like each other, but that's actually not the truth. That's what you get. I don't want to spoil too much. It's really predictable. And that's why I think I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars, but not because I thought it was bad, really. And the things that you hope for happened. There were some twists, there was drama, lots of drama. I cried. The language is the way that we speak today. There's actually lots of cursing in this one. This was great. I really enjoyed it. I liked Alex a lot. What I also loved about it was that there were so many moments that made me laugh and scream, because some moments were like, oh my god. I'm easily humored. So I won't say that the humor is really on a high level, but I laughed a lot, especially because of Alex. Okay, I think I would give it 2 out of 5 emojis, or maybe only 1, because the crying wasn't permanent, but sometimes I got a little bit teary-eyed because I'm like, oh my god, it's so cute. Yeah, this is all I read this month, and I'm really proud of myself. I never read this much in a whole month. Okay, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you want to, and don't forget to click the little bell next to the subscription button to never miss an upload. Subscription button. Comment down below what you would like to see next. Give me some book recommendations because the year is long, I don't have many books, and I would love your recommendations. Also, it's my birthday at the end of this month, so, you know, if you give me some book recommendations, I'm gonna put it on my list. Follow me on my social media. This is my Instagram account. This is my Instagram poetry account. Please follow this one. I always post little snippets of poems that I wrote. And this is my Twitter, and you can follow it if you like to see embarrassing and stupid tweets. Occasionally. I hope you have a great day. If we don't see each other again, a great life. Thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys. I look so different with makeup. Ugh. I don't even recognize myself. I'm gonna go get some lunch. See ya.